we will get started. I'm going to share my screen real quick. We're going to talk about the agenda. Lots of stuff to get through, but I think it'll go fairly fast, I'm hoping. So scripts are first, and then we'll talk briefly about the match, safety briefing, water and bathrooms. I want you guys to take pictures, talking briefly about a debrief with your volunteers, and then just a reminder to save all your papers. So pretty simple. We're going to go to scripts first. Oh, let me share this again. Sorry, I went through that kind of fast. So this is the plan, is to get you guys pre-staged, so printed out by me. Louise, I'll have to talk with you because you're using a different form, but sorry, I'm there. Pre-staged by me in your tent or resources or gear or stuff or whatever it is you're calling that area. 15 pre-staged forms. So already filled out, ready to go. You can start making matches right away. And then pre-staging some information in the volunteer area, so you can label your pockets however you want, and go ahead and pre-fill that in the pantry organizer or whatever system you have, and then print out ready for the public at least 115. I have 115 now, and I could keep going. I just kind of wanted to talk to you guys to see what you're thinking. So that's the plan for right now, and I'll have these out in no time. So pre-staged, those are fairly easy printing. There's nothing for you to do, and ready for the public's pretty easy too. Let me show you. Can everyone print an Excel document?
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft Excel. Okay.
Okay, good.
I don't know.
Okay. You know what? I can easily save that. In fact, I will do that. It's just easier. I will save it as a PDF. I don't know why I even asked about Excel.
Yeah,
There's no reason
yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
can you do it as a Google sheet?
I might throw it in the Google Drive, Matt, just for you, but yeah.
I mean, if you have it as a Google sheet, it's easier to edit online for anybody. And you
Yeah.
can print it to a
I
PDF
don't.
from Chrome or Firefox.
Okay.
Well, is
So
this something
we'll
we're gonna
get to that, Matt. What's that, Bill?
Is this Excel sheet going to be something we fill in and get back to you?
No. Let's talk about that. So I'm going to show you the Excel spreadsheet, which it won't look any different. It'll just be a PDF, so you don't have to worry about whether or not you have Excel. Let me get some of my things out of the way. It is, and so if you printed it, this is what it would look like. Can you see that area on my screen? Okay,
Mhm.
so there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. There's 16 per page. And I'm scrolling down, there's 9 pages, and I left room for 10. So 16 per page. You need to print roughly 9 pages and cut them into pieces.
Mhm.
Okay. So some of these match across. So this is the directions I'll give when I send this out, is print all 9 pages, and I'll number the pages. My suggestion is you take pages 1 and 2, or let's say 1, 2, and 3, and cut them all up and put them in a plastic bag and label it number 1. And then take pages 4, 5, and 6, cut them up into little slips, and put those in a plastic bag labeled number 2. And then 7, 8, 9, cut those up, put them in a plastic bag labeled 3. If your pre-greeter gives them out in that order, and they can obviously be mixed up in the bags, but if they give them out envelope 1 or bag 1, then bag 2, then bag 3, then you will have matches. a lot of, like I said, a lot of these are matches, next to each other. Like this one, I have veggie burgers in the freezer. Is there somewhere I could cook them? I have a barbecue grill and plenty of propane. So the matches, some of them here, I'm supposed to have dialysis in 2 days. I'm a dialysis nurse currently. So a lot of these are matched right across from each other. Some of them are not. I'll scroll down. Oh, I got a blank there. I got to fill that out. I heard pockets of the city have power and running water. Is that true? So that's a rumor. There's no match to that. They just have to talk to somebody that goes, yeah, we don't have that information yet. So any questions about what you're seeing right now?
I have a question.
Mhm.
On the electrician,
Yes.
scrolling down, like, would that go
Yeah.
up on the information board rather than, just because he's an electrician?
Yeah. So this is, and I shouldn't have showed you this because this was going to be a interesting one. But anyway, so the public person says, I'm an electrician. Tell everyone. Oh, you are an electrician. Tell health volunteers that everyone should unplug all their electrical devices to avoid the inevitable power surges when the power comes back on. Ask them to tell all the other hubs that are activated. So this is a GMRS radio conversation. And everybody's getting this particular script. So everybody should either be sending out this message or all of your GMRS radio operators, if you have them, should be sending this message out or receiving this message.
Mhm.
Okay. And then, yeah, and you're right, Pat. And then that information needs to go up on the information board.
So we're having ham radio operators. So they're transmitting this information, correct? You said GRMS.
GMRS, yeah. Let me, yeah. Somebody said one of the hubs is calling in their GMRS radio operators, the folks that talked hub to hub, but not necessarily to ACS radio operators, ham radio operators. So this would be a good message that would go from hub to hub, because this message could have come down from the city, but did not. I will show you what information. So if you can see my screen, this is the pre-staged information on your information boards. Our scenario is you actually activated for a short time yesterday, June 10th. And these are the 4 messages that were sent via ham radio out to the hubs. Somehow you got this information and you've posted this to your community. There will be more information coming from ham radio operators. But for those of you that have GMRS radio operators that are standing by looking for something to do, that's what this electrician message is meant for.
So,
If you don't have, yes, go ahead, Frank.
have we decided which GMRS frequency we want to use or how we're going to deal with that?
Nope. I guess I'm working on that this week.
Ann,
And
can
I
you
will
hear
call
me?
in the sec. Yes,
Can
I
you
can,
hear me?
Jody. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I will pull in the GMRS sector leads and see if they can do that. I couldn't assign a frequency if I had to. And I don't know, do you know, for the folks on the call tonight, how many of you are going to even have a GMRS radio operator standing by?
I have a radio, so I'll be there.
Okay.
I believe we'll have one.
I think we'll have one.
Okay. So
soon.
that's
And,
okay.
and
So
maybe
that's
Laurel-
4 of you.
maybe Laurelhurst.
Okay. Yeah. So again, if you don't, it's not a big deal. Go ahead, Bill.
Well, okay, so, but you're sending the same electrician message to all of the hubs in this drill. But, so we're basically sharing it with another hub that already knows this?
Well, it just depends on whether or not, because I don't know how to send this particular message to one of you. I mean, I could do that. I could text, I could text you, Bill, at, let's say, 2:00 and go send this message out via GMRS, but that's tough to do.
Yeah, it would be tough to do.
Yeah. So, I mean, I could do it. If I knew a GMRS radio operator was out there and operating, I think I can schedule that text to go. I just don't know that they're going to get it.
It's possible
And-
10 electricians across the city would say the same thing.
Yeah, let's go with that. So,
Repeat that.
maybe this,
Repeat that, Matt.
Oh, I was just saying that we might get, duplicate information in a real disaster like that.
Okay.
so this particular script tests two things: whether or not this information from your public made it onto your information board for all of your community, and also maybe did you send it out or did you receive it from another hub? And it just kind of gives the GMRS radio operator something to do. They'll never know that it's already written up on the board. They'll think they're bringing in great information that the hub needs to know. And the information officer may have it up on the board or may not. Go ahead, Pat, you look like you got a question.
Yeah, we haven't talked much about the GRMS role previously. So I know we have the folks coming to each of the hubs. I don't know that I have a designated GRMS person. I personally went out
Okay.
and bought a radio, but I am doing so much other stuff. I am not going to be listening on
no.
the radio. So
Yeah.
uh,
And now that we're talking about this, there's no reason why you can't send this out on ham radio. If that's all you have, send it out on ham radio.
all right.
And I have one other question. So we've
Mhm.
got 10 hubs here that are participating, and I see, I think I know some of the call numbers that we're supposed to use for some of them, but we don't have a list of the 10, do we?
I do. I will make sure I send that out. And what Linda's talking about is the four-letter hub designator.
Right.
And the only time you're ever going to use it is on radio traffic. You hub captain folks don't need to know this, but your radio operators need to know that if it comes from, let's see, Laurelhurst is probably LAUR, I'm guessing. That if those four letters are on a message, then they originated at the Laurelhurst hub. And your radio folks know this. They've had training on hub designators. Your ACS radio folks know it. So I will send that out. I've given that to the city more than once, or to the ACS folks more than once, but I'll make sure that all the hubs have it.
Well, especially since you said that some of our ACS people may disappear partway through the.
Yeah.
So then we'll need
That's
to.
a surprise to me.
Yeah, we need to know.
Why would you need to know the designator if
Well, if we're going to
if
send
you're
them to
AC
another hub, don't we need to know that? If we're GMRS and our ACS person isn't around and we're doing that, don't we need to know that?
Yes,
Sure.
I don't know that many of our GMRS radio operators have had training on the ICS 213 form. Yeah, I see Louise shaking her head.
I think the
If
name of
you're-
the hub would be sufficient to get their attention.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. Well, I didn't even know
Yeah.
that, so that's good to know.
It's just, my guess is it's going to be, and maybe will always be, much less formal for GMRS radio operators. I think paper and pencil may be what GMRS radios are doing. I don't know how many GMRS radio operators will use an official form, the ICS 213 form. So much to learn here.
But the other thing
Um,
is, and that we, on the flyer, it doesn't give the name of each hub I want to make sure we have the right name for all 10 hubs that are participating, because the flyer does, I need to know, make sure we know which Queen Anne, and we know which, you know what I'm saying? Because the flyer is
Yeah.
locations, not the name of the hub.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, I have the names, the locations, and the designators in an Excel spreadsheet, and I will make sure I send that out.
Thank
And
you.
that is a print that just for this exercise. It won't really help down the road, but just
Yeah.
for this exercise.
Okay.
And I'm fairly certain that when we divvied up the ICS 213s, some of you have received them, some of you have not, but I will make sure you get them before the drill. So it's like 200 copies of this carbonless form. In that packet, I believe, are all the hub designators printed. There's guidance on how to use the form and the hub designators. So I'll make sure that those are in there, but I'll send you the information anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. What Pat's holding up. So that first page is how to fill out the form. What's the second page, Pat?
Further discussion, and then all the designators.
Yeah.
Pages.
So, and that instruction sheet and the designators should stay with those ICS 213 forms, because they're really who's going to use them as the radio folks.
Is there any other
Okay.
logs that the radio folks are keeping track of? Because I find log sheets in my hub that are, way back, I think we're using them. Isn't it because it's a duplicate copy? We're not doing a log now?
No, you still log messages in and out. My understanding of the reason we got not double-sided, but carbonless copies of these forms is that you can give one to your radio assistant and they can run it over to the hub, and you keep one for your records. The radio operator keeps one for their records, but to my knowledge, they are still maintaining a log. But that's really an ACS thing.
And they'll bring the form, or am I supposed
yeah.
to? Yeah. Okay.
No, that's their job. Yeah. Okay. Would you guys like to see? Okay, so do you want to talk about any of these scripts? And let me reassure you that these are not big hairy ones. It is it's little things. There's maybe one or two house fires in here. There's a lot of questions about small things. Questions about food, questions about water, questions about toilets. How can I help? There's rumors in there. Most of it is stuff you have seen. Well, I have seen before, because I'm constantly playing with these scripts before a drill. I really just went through the list we had and pulled out all the this building has massive damage. I pulled out that kind of stuff because that's very specific to earthquake.
Anne, can I just ask one question?
Sure.
I don't personally want to go through the scripts, but other than the flyer where it's just saying that the power is out, do we have a paragraph that is the scenario, like why the power is out and also
great.
And cell service for sure is out. And somebody said that even Cairo 710 radio was out. Is that true, or?
Yes.
Okay.
All communications are down, and I will have that paragraph with me. I mean, I will get that to you to read before the event. Now that you're saying that, I don't know. It's good to announce it at the beginning of the drill that, this is the scenario, this is the scene we're walking into. But unless you say that every half hour, you're only going to catch the first people that walk in.
Well,
so maybe it's, go ahead.
I was going to take 4 big pieces of corrugated cardboard with a great big marker and just said, this is the scenario. And then go, it just like in about 4 or 5 sentences, real big at the beginning, near the entrance, and just tape them up. And it can be crude because it's simulating, like this is just happening and we're just putting this up now, so.
That is a great idea. Yeah. And that would be at your pre-greeter. Like,
Yeah,
here's
exactly.
the scenario and here's your piece of paper. Help us exercise this situation. Walk up to the greeter and let's get you through the hub. So I will get those 4 or 5 sentences out to you guys. We do not, just FYI, we do not know what has caused this ridiculously large power outage, because it is more than just lights and electricity. It is like you'll see with all this, the water pumping of the water is impacted, moving sewage away from buildings is impacted. Traffic is just a mess because traffic lights none of them are working. So lots of impacts beyond just kind of a small power outage. Okay, so any other questions before we move on? Okay, I need your feedback on the number of, sorry, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. The number of scripts. So to the public, there's 115. Just people walking up. That, in some ways, it sounds like plenty. In other ways, it doesn't sound like enough.
Sounds like plenty to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we can
Okay.
recycle too, right?
Yeah.
Yes. And I might encourage you to print this twice and have bags 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, 6, and just run through them again.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Also, should we be putting some into the pockets before people even come? So there's a potential for a match from the very first person
Yes.
that picked the script. I mean, I don't think
Yeah.
you can really make that happen, but you could kind of plant so it's potential.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So let me go back to the Excel spreadsheet, and this tab.
The haves and needs we will put in the pocket. The 15 have needs and the 10 volunteers will go in the pockets before we start, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And also, if we
So-
run out of slips, we can just tell people, make up something and we'll go with that,
Yeah, that might be a little overwhelming for a lot of people, but yeah, there's a chance that I will write more scripts, and we're going to talk more about that are unique to your neighborhood. But yes, Louise, there will be special ones that are pre-printed, and you can put them in your pockets ahead of time. And Louise, I will contact you tomorrow, and we'll figure out how to put the information on the forms that you're using, because Louise is using a different form than most everybody else.
But I'm not using the same form as that one that has the multiple check, the white one that has the 4 or 5 check boxes. We're not using that one either, because we're using those pastel.
Okay. Oh, that's the same thing that Louise is using.
Yeah, that's
Okay. Okay. For the two of you, then I'll figure out how to print on the pastel ones. And then I can just send that to you, and you guys can hit print.
okay.
I think I can do that.
Great.
Yeah. And it'll be printed in cursive, so it looks like a human being wrote it, whatever cursive looks like on a typewriter.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Any other questions about scenarios before we move on? Okay. So maps. Some of you have them. Jody has hers. Matt has his. Everybody else's has come in. I just need to get them to you.
They're gorgeous.
They are lovely.
They're gorgeous.
They are. They are really, I think they're really helpful. So what I'd like to do is find out from you guys if we can I spend 30 minutes on the phone or on a Zoom call or whatever with you guys? You have the map in front of you, or maybe we do this in person, but I'd like to, I will offer time and energy to help write scripts that are really unique to your situation. Like, I can't write a script that says, oh, the First Avenue Bridge is down. If it doesn't pertain to, only one of you. Or, the hospital next door needs volunteers. Can anybody run over? Well, if you're, 7 miles from the hospital, no, nobody's going to run over. So, and it will force you to look at your community and go, wow, I wonder how an electrical power outage would impact us. Like, oh, I didn't realize there was an electrical supply building right across, 3 blocks down from my hub or something like that. So I've talked to Jody about doing it, and I know she's up for it. Would anybody else like to spend a little time creating scripts that are unique to you based on your situation? Okay, I see Pat. I see Bill. Matt, are you going to work on that on your own? Was that your?
Yeah, I think that's what we were talking about,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Today, I think you were
Let me
gonna
know
just
if you,
share the sheet and then I would edit.
yeah. Okay. Linda, you and I have talked about this a little bit. The
Yeah,
scripts that are written are really generic.
Okay, I can do the 30-minute thing if it's before Thursday.
Okay, sure. But Linda soon. So the scripts are written with, I think there's like 2 addresses in the whole list of them. I just said the local gas station, the local pharmacy, the local hospital, in order to make it generic enough that you could figure out which one you're talking about. The problem is when you have more than one pharmacy near you, you can work that stuff out with your volunteers, but it might be very interesting to have actual addresses. Yeah. Okay. Louise, are you interested in a little bit of, okay.
Yep.
All right. And Dolores, how about you? Would you be interested in like chatting
Well,
about your neighborhood?
I have to work, Monday through Friday, and we had a disaster that I still have remnants. I'm going to be working Saturday to get the rest of it fixed.
Oh, at work, you mean? Oh,
I don't, it's a long story.
at
but
home? Oh, I'm
No,
sorry.
in the knack box.
Oh, no.
Oh,
So
what happened?
yesterday we opened the knack box. It is black with ants.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
Everything is just covered. So we spent 4 hours taking everything
Oh.
out.
oh,
Oh my God. It
sorry.
was, and then the things we couldn't deal with, I said, David, just put it in the back of the Sorrento and then I will do something. So I spent 4 hours today, just trying to salvage. And I found things that I thought I had lost. And some of them are just really important, like the white thing with all the slip holders.
Right.
But I had 3 binders that I still need to work on because they're the ones with all the paper, but thank God it's in plastic sheaths.
Right.
But there's dead ants all over it. Still.
Okay.
So I got all the other stuff, the helmets, everything are clean and everything, the main stuff's back in there, but the other stuff is in the garage. All the nice laminated, beautiful laminated did wonderfully. I got to scrub them off and they're in the, anyway.
Yeah.
So all I can
Wow.
think of is I am just so glad I opened that thing up. I've had it for over 10 years and I've gone in there before and it hasn't been that long. And this year it must have just been the
Something.
ant
Yeah.
invasion.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear about that,
So
man. But I'm like you. I'm glad you got in there.
I'm going to be more distracted. I want to get those 3-ring binders and all of that I'm hoping to salvage it, but it's going to take, and David's going to do the lettering on the vests. The vests were not damaged. So we'll thank you for the stencils. So I just cannot promise any more time. I just can't before Sunday.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
But
That was
I am,
unexpected.
yes. So
All right.
note to anybody else. I mean, I just make sure you check to see if you have an ant invasion in yours. I hope you don't.
Yeah.
It's nowhere near any food. It's just, it's a crazy thing.
Yeah.
We've had a lot
I
more
hear you.
ants than usual in our house this year.
Wow.
Yeah. So check your, I mean, they were highly concentrated in this cardboard box. So I don't know if that was the thing. So it's long gone now.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So
Anything
I
else
will-
before we move on? Yeah,
thank you, though.
I'll work with you. Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else before we move on? Okay, I'm going to share the safety briefing. And this is something I just typed up. It's the size of a piece of paper. And my thought was to, I have orange paper. I'm happy to print it on orange paper and laminate it and get everybody a copy. So, and this would be like almost from here forward, or at least for every drill. Number 1, safety is everyone's job. 2, move calmly. 3, ask for help. If we have a true emergency, the exercise will stop. We ask that neighbors move to key locations to flag down emergency vehicles. And this is something to think about because you are responsible for gathering a bunch of public people, public. Where is your closest AED? Better to think about it now than
What is an
to
AED?
automated external defibrillator.
Oh,
If
okay.
somebody had a
You
heart
did, yeah.
attack, it's that thing you put on their
Yeah.
chest, step back,
Okay.
and it does everything. I'm happy to help you find that. I have an app actually that will locate that, but it's just a thought to figure out where that is and tell people. You look very organized, and B, you might save a life. And then also to figure out where the closest stop the bleed kit is in case, heaven forbid, somebody gets injured and has a significant bleed. So I can help you locate those if you don't happen to know where they are. They're in a lot of public buildings, so that's a good place to start. But again, there's an app that will tell you where that stuff is. And something else you want to announce to your folks is where the bathrooms are. That's number 7 on here. Number 8 is we have water available, blah, 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 wherever. And we haven't talked about this before, but I believe most of the promotional materials encourage people to bring water bottles. So just, it's not going to be super hot that I can tell, but just in case. So if you can either figure out where somebody could go get water fountain, nearby bathroom, whatever, or if you have a volunteer that can help you out by bringing a big, thermos or whatever, cooler of water. It doesn't, you don't have to do anything else. Coffee and donuts and all that kind of stuff is great, but it's certainly not necessary. But water would be very nice. And it might come in handy for something else, like putting out a fire. So bathrooms and water are good. And then the last thing is our goal is to help our neighbors. Everything we do here today is a giant step in the right direction. So kind of that oorah, there are no mistakes. There's no such thing as a bad answer, all that kind of stuff. So cheering them on. Any questions about the safety briefing?
You just do that at the beginning.
Yes. Yeah.
So if a shift changes, do you make some effort to tell new people some of the highlights of this? No
It's your
big deal.
call.
It's
Yeah.
a protocol. Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of people will be coming and going, so
Yeah.
best to post it and make sure you've got your first aid kit, highly visible place.
Yep. Not buried in the bottom of your hub box. That's a really good idea. Thanks, Matt. So I will add that to this list before I send it out. We do have a first aid kit. It is blah, blah, blah. Just to point out what's available and, get people thinking this, we're trying to stay safe. I thought about putting on this list what to do if there's an earthquake, because, it never hurts to remind people, but the guidance is just drop, cover, and hold on. You can't even really get cover for most of us because we're in a park and outdoors, but thoughts about whether or not I should include earthquake message?
I have one that I lifted from you that lists all the different ways you drop, cover, hold, which I was planning to bring. If you're in the theater, if you're in your car, if you're at work, blah, blah.
Okay.
And
I wouldn't want to go through that. Go ahead.
To me, people ask me that all the time. So I just thought if we posted it at the education tent, and it would also help people put this together as a picture of many different ways of using this system.
Yeah. Okay. It's a good idea. I think I'm going to leave earthquakes off here though, because I think people need to be in the mindset that this is not an earthquake drill. This is a power outage drill.
Yeah.
So, okay. Just a couple more things on the agenda. Please, please, please take pictures. And I know as hub captains, you will not do it because I personally have never taken a picture when I'm working. So ask someone else to do it. If you have a reluctant spouse, if you have just anybody you can think of, just say, hey, please take pictures. You can also encourage the public to take pictures and give them a QR code of where to send them. If you want them all emailed to you, I can make a QR code where when they point their phone at it, it will pop up as an email to you.
That's pretty clever.
So I will send that out. I'll send it out regardless. If you don't want to use it, that's fine. But a QR code, print it. You might. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to put it in the.
Come up with a hashtag, and then people can post stuff on Instagram, and we can use a common hashtag, and then that's what
I've never used that.
Yeah.
Oh, they don't have to. You would just say, tag hashtag power down 2023. They'll post it and they'll tag it, and then they'll all be kind of in the same category. So
You're using a foreign language to me.
Yeah. I don't know that somebody my age. Yeah. I don't know
So
that somebody my age is going to know how to do it. I don't even have Instagram installed on my phone. I don't
just
think.
the general public. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, all those technological natives. We're immigrants as old folk.
Yeah, it's basically like a tag, a search term, so that
I know
anybody who uses that can see all the pictures that were taken on that day.
Yeah, let me talk about it with Cindy and think about it for a little bit. If there's a place to put them all together, that'd be great.
Yeah. That you wouldn't necessarily know which. You wouldn't necessarily know what hub it came from. It may be hard to discern if they all came.
Yeah. Let me think about it. I'll send out a email on that one.
So when we do get these pictures, is Cindy or you want to have a hub picture collage or something?
Yeah, we throw them together on a folder on the hub drive, and then we pull from them periodically, especially for our population. If there's anybody of color, if there's anybody with a disability, an obvious physical disability, any kind of pictures that show a diverse outreach are really, really good for further outreach, for future outreach. So we kind of screen through them, and if they're crappy pictures, we'll just delete them. But you guys can certainly use them on your follow-up, any kind of stuff you do follow up. Okay, so please figure out how to designate somebody to take pictures. That's my advice, because again, I never remember to do it. Debriefing with your volunteers. And this is, not most, but some of your people will have left. So it's just debriefing at the end of the exercise with who's left. And you can do this multiple ways. Typically, we get everybody in a circle, and this is before we put the hub away. So you just call out, hey, exercise over with. Thank you, everybody. But I really, before you leave, I need your input, and bring everybody around in a circle, and just, and you want to hit the key volunteers, the people that had jobs. You want to get them to speak, almost more so than the general public. And you want to tell them, please listen to everybody ahead of you and don't repeat what they said, because otherwise everybody says the same thing and it takes forever. So say, you know, I'm taking notes. Please write down any information that you think would be helpful for me to know that someone else hasn't shared already. And you're going to do profuse thanks, and maybe, you know, our next upcoming event is blah, blah, blah. If you have even had the bandwidth to think that far. Matt and I were talking about a skills fair later in the summer. I told you guys I would be putting together dates for a class. I don't know when that's going to be. And unfortunately, I think it's going to be in the fall. I don't think it's even going to be this summer.
There's August
classes in
1st
the
too,
summer.
which is the Seattle
National
Night Out.
Night Out. Yeah.
And there will be a map published with all the locations this year, I understand, so that we can look and see where in our area we should go or get someone to go to talk up emergency preparedness
Yeah.
and the SNAP program and et cetera, et cetera.
So that could be your follow-up event to this event is, hey, you can see how important neighbors are, how important community is. Make sure if you haven't started thinking about it, start thinking about hosting or at least attending a National Night Out block party in your area. And then the last thing I had for you guys was please save all your papers. I've done so many drills and I never know what happens to the papers. And it would be really, I think, important to see what went on, but I've never had the chance to. I don't know. I think maybe Cindy does it. I don't even remember doing it from last year. So anyway, ask your volunteers to save all your papers and we'll kind of figure out what to do with them afterwards. I mean, they're going to get thrown away, but is there anything you can get off of them before they do get pitched? Yeah, go ahead, Pat.
So on some of the forms that the message taker will be filling out, they'll be asking for people's names, addresses, how to contact them, you know, cell phone, whatever. I was thinking I would encourage people to use their real name instead of making up things, but also telling them that I was going to shred this stuff afterwards. So not to worry that it's going to be out in the, you know, in the world.
Right.
So what do you think?
I have a couple thoughts. Asking them to actually write down something, whether they make it up or don't make it up. Yeah, whether it's a real name or a fake name doesn't matter necessarily, but what that does is that stimulates how long it takes to get this information down on paper. So there's great value in that. It teaches the hub volunteers that, and it teaches the community that this is not a fast process. So it slows things down to a more reasonable speed. There's also a part of me that says, I wouldn't even make them fill it out because it's, you know, I would just put X's through that stuff that, yeah, I looked at it, but really what I want to get down on that piece of paper is that I'm an electrician, not what my name is and where I live and that kind of stuff. So honestly, I think you could go either way. You could make them do it. You could make them do it with their real name, or you could just tell them they don't even have to do it. I don't see the value of making them write their real name if you're not going to do something with it. You could say, if you give us your real name, we will sign you up for the newsletter. I don't know.
Be a committee
Yeah.
chairman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
these days you got to be really careful with collecting information, personal information about people. You have to
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
really clear about why you're collecting the information, and if you aren't going to use it, you should not collect it because there are rules about retaining information and deleting information.
Yeah. And if heaven forbid something got out there, I'd hate for it to come back to a hub captain and go, well, you said you're going to shred it and it didn't get shredded, or, you know, whatever. They could point the finger at you even if it wasn't your fault. Frank, I saw you had your hand raised.
Yeah, one thing that Bill and I and the folks in Central West have used for literally years is a visitor sign-in log. In other words, if you're interested, your name, your phone number, whatever it is, and what you're interested in, SNAP, ACS, the hub or whatever. You know, one year we did Summerfest and we got 4 names after 8 hours. But it's also people that you can work with. So I take Matt's point, but it's also a time if you have people show up and you go, hey, this is good stuff, or I'm a scout leader, and my scouts might be interested in this, then you've established a contact with your community. So anyway, it's worked for us.
Yeah. Whenever I do anything, skills fairs, anything like that, I always have a sign up sheet that says, if you're interested in learning more about the hubs or whatever, you know, put your name here, which is different in my head than putting it on a piece of paper that's kind of a little more nebulous.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
you've given
around the
permission.
clarity. It's why you're asking for the information. If people know
Yeah.
why they're writing their name down, that's fine. If you write it down, say this is just part of our drill, and then you email them and say, hey, you know, you were at our drill, they may not want you to do that. But if
Okay,
it's
so
a
no
sign-in sheet that
surprises.
says, if you're interested in signing up for a mailing list, you put your name here, then they can choose.
Yeah. Go ahead, Pat.
So I have several lists that I've accumulated from, you know, various events, including the skills fair we did last year. And when I use our Broadview Prepares at Gmail, I have the feeling I've sent out over 100 emails and maybe got one response. And so I have this feeling that it's going into people's junk mail because it's the first, you know, time that I've contacted them, even though they've signed up and said, yeah, contact me. So I'm going to try to use a reverse strategy with the QR code for our Gmail account and write our, you know, for people that don't like or don't use QR accounts, and just have a bunch of them like a business card and just say, if you're interested, please contact us. So then it'll be in their email. And if I respond, you know, they're more likely to get it. Do you understand? Is that legit?
That's
Or
a really, yeah.
Because they've sent it
Yeah.
to you.
Especially if they reached out. Yeah.
right.
That's a really good idea, because then it is in their
It
is
couldn't
in
be
their
any worse
email.
than how it's going right now.
Right. Pat, when you send out a message, is it like a blast kind of email?
At
You don't
times
sit
I
there and say,
am, yeah. I mean, asking for the initial, you know, volunteer crew for our event, and I didn't get any response. So now I just am personally on my own email trying to get in touch with people, and I still haven't. I think I have 6 volunteers right now. So
gotcha. Yeah.
busy people.
Yeah. I often wonder, because a lot of the emails I sent are blind copied to a group of people. And I wonder how many of those go into a spam folder because they're just blind copied.
Yeah.
And
Oh, I do that because I thought people didn't want, you know, their emails all over. So I do it
I
that
think
way
it's the
too.
right way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the right way to do it because you're protecting everybody's privacy. But I think their mail server automatically shoves it into
I
their
did
junk
not know
folder
that.
and they never see it. I think that happens a lot. I think that's probably more your case than they're ignoring you.
Okay.
A tool that I set up for our hub is groups.io, and that is a mail group tool. So you can You can configure it in different ways. By default, I think anyone can just send to it and it will repeat out like the hubcaps list. But you can also change the settings to only allow admins to send email to the list. People can sign up or remove themselves from the list themselves. So if they want to self-service, they can go to groups.io and they can sign up for your list. They can send an email to initiate it. And then if they don't want to be on it anymore, they can remove themselves from it. And it also gives people the option to choose whether they want to receive an email every time somebody sends an email, or if they want a daily digest, or if they want a weekly digest. So depending on the number of emails you're sending, they can receive kind of all of those in one at one time, so they don't get too much.
Okay.
I find that that's a really helpful tool.
Okay. This sounds like a deep dive topic for a lot of hub captains to try and what are the tools that are out there that you might be able to use to get support and find those people and actually reach out to them. Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Linda.
Just one question. I know that the group
Mhm.
from the public who signed up on the sign up website, they have the website has their addresses, but do we have access to their email addresses? It didn't seem like it when I went on there.
I would have access to it,
Okay.
and I'm happy to share that with you, but I think I don't know. It's a good question. And the only reason I have access to it is because the sign up lives in my sign up account. I can actually transfer that sign up to you, and then you have complete control over it, and I can't modify it, and I wouldn't be able to see emails.
I have the same question because we promised the 3-day reminder. And I tried to go in and I can't access contact either.
Right. The 3-day reminder is automatic.
Oh,
The program, yeah, that just does it on its own. I'll double check, but I'm pretty sure my account is set to do that, to send reminders. And I always get an email that says, "Oh, we sent out reminders today." So yeah, that's nothing you guys need to worry about. But if you would like those email addresses, I'm happy to give them to you, especially the folks that have signed up for a specific role. Because they're more engaged than the general public, is my guess. Go ahead, Jody.
I signed up and a couple other people signed up, but I don't think it was on the latest list. Could you put in the chat the list of the latest version of the sign up? I just want to make sure that all the people who volunteered are on that list.
Sure. Yeah. There we go.
Whoops.
Yeah, those are for the hub jobs. Yeah. So any other questions? I got a feeling we're going to be talking a lot over the next couple of days, and I owe you quite a few things.
Well, just one thing to show you guys. I went to the Madison Valley skills thing, and this is something that Bill N6NBN put together. On one side, it's ACS information, and on the other side, it's everything you need to know to get started with your GMRS license. You get a stack of these, and like Matt was saying, you just have them in a pile. If people are interested, you hand them to them. And if they don't want to sign in on something, they've got it in their wallet and they can pursue it if they want to. And on the other side, it's info@seattleemergencyhubs.org. So both the hubs are covered and the hams are covered. And, then the GMRS, because that's really how the hubs communicate with each other. So we're not going to do it by ham radio.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The skills fair at Rainier Beach yesterday was really good. There was a lot of stations. They had a pretty decent turnout.
And I thought it was good to publish the name of all their stations, so that when we set up, when we work to set up new ones, we'll we'll have that list to inspire and inform us.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, so anything else? Any other big concerns? I did a site visit with South Park. Couple things we talked about was balloons, because they're in a parking lot that is main thoroughfare. It's not on the busiest street. They're on a corner and it's around the corner. So they are talking about balloons. That's a thought. You know, they're borrowing canopies. Let's see. Yeah, that was about it. Mostly it was just where to put stuff. They're in a parking lot and they don't know how many cars will be parked there, if any. And so they, you know, they can't really draw up a blueprint of where they want to put stuff because they'll figure it out the day of. But I thought the site visit was pretty good. And I know the hub captain feels a little bit more confident now that she's kind of walked through it with, I was down there and then Erica Arnett, who's a real strong hub captain, was down there too. So I have 2 site visits coming up with Eastlake and Judkins Park, and still have room to do more if necessary, if that would be helpful.
When
I
are you
talked
meeting
to
Eastlake?
4:00 tomorrow.
Okay.
How come, Bill?
Well, I work on Monday afternoons, so
Oh, okay. Okay.
otherwise I could maybe join you and, you know,
Just
while
be a
we
fly on the
could give you
wall?
maps, we could talk about things, you know, But-
Oh,
but I can't. I work on Monday afternoon.
gotcha. Yeah, I'll get with you. I owe quite a few of you still. I owe you maps and a couple other things.
Okay.
That was my next question is, should we make arrangements with you to pick up the stuff?
I'll reach out. I have a
Okay.
lot of places to go this week, so it's almost easier for me to just coordinate all my driving. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Anything else, guys? Okay, I'm gonna let you go. Super available this week. Please just email with questions. Honestly, again, like I said before, I'm learning as much or more than you guys are about this. There really ought to be a checklist on how to get ready for a drill, because I feel like I'm discovering things at the last minute. Like I didn't think about bathrooms and water till like yesterday, or no, the other day when I met was at South Park. I'm like, oh yeah, you should figure out where bathrooms are. Not for the general public, screw them. You know, they're not going to be there that long, but for your volunteers that are potentially there for 4 hours, yeah, or 3 hours or whatever it is. So, all right, I'm gonna let you guys go.
Okay,
so
thank
much.
you,
All right.
thank you, thank you.
Right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Good night.
bye guys.
Bye-bye.